The Alpha and Omega treasure map, Key of David. The treasure map, the Key of David, equals Alpha and Omega. There is biblical formula, and it's the Key of David. It involves the Alpha and Omega and eternal righteousness by faith, and has its own map. It includes prophetic time, a parable time clock, as well as the 70 weeks and 2300. All fall under that category. And then the three angels' messages. It is not from this world, because it involves wonderful, Counselor, everlasting Father, and this discussion is mostly as a starting point of unveiling messages from these categories. The map equals the map of Revelation 17's 10 kings. Why? Because it swallows up the world, and no other religion outside of this present understanding has this revelation of the Key of David. And if they did, who then has it in its full capacity? They would also possess the map of the Key of David. It proves that this knowledge has the truth regarding the destiny of the planet, and notwithstanding the war of the dragon. So all systems of so-called religion are false, since none have the understanding of Earth's destiny in relation to the 10 successive and 10 contemporary kings of Revelation 17. Matthew 20. The field equals the vineyard of the Lord, and the previous workers that were cast out have been replaced by the understanding of where in world history can the true vineyard be located. Not in Jerusalem or Mount Gerizim, but in spirit and truth. But in the hours of 6, 9, 12, and 3 and 5 equals Matthew 20. Micah the prophet stated that Messiah comes from days of old or everlasting, which equals Alpha scenario of eternal righteousness, equals Revelation 13:8. The truth is within the Key of David, since the third angel is supposed to be righteousness by faith and verity. It is not. Why? It is found in eternal righteousness by faith, which opens the entrance to Jerusalem, which is from above, as revealed in Isaiah 9:5-7, equals wonderful, equals angel of the Lord, Counselor, equals Allos and everlasting Father, equals John 1:1 and Prince of Peace, equals the final reign of everlasting righteousness on planet Earth. What is truth? Pilate's question to Jesus, what is truth, was never answered by Jesus. But the answer that Jesus gives from Scripture is the following. Scripture points to truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. John 14. He, Allos, will guide you into all truth. John 16. Sanctify them by truth. Thy word is truth. John 17. The Key of David treasure map has emphasis on everlasting righteousness. Daniel 9:24, which is an absolute explanation of the everlasting gospel, Revelation 14:6-7, of the two divines of John 1:1. Whereas Pilate's question was from a subjective Greek perspective, since the Romans were influenced by the Greeks. Scripture states the following, Psalms 119:142, Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Pilate seemed to be implying that truth is relative, and he may have possibly alluded to some facets of Greek philosophy which envisions that all things in the material world are an illusion. One may recall that the major battle of the early church was the fact that they had to deal with the Gnostics and their erroneous views regarding the material world, of which God stated that what he had created was good, whereas the Gnostics say, no, the material world was evil. Perhaps he was alluding to the philosophical systems, and most scholars have not really figured out why Pilate said this. If Jesus had answered, it would have made no difference, since Pilate had his opportunity to hear the truth by way of a dream that he received from his wife, who stated, "Have nothing to do with that just, God-fearing man." She had tremendous trouble sleeping that night. That is the reason that Jesus didn't get into a theological debate with Pilate. He never debated his enemies. He just used clear-cutting scripture and exposed their plots and schemes, whereas Pilate was caught in a snare, and rather than listening to his wife, he caved into the threats of, "If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar's." In the case of Pilate, his wife revealed a dream that was truth, and it was ignored. The same will be for the followers of Jesus at the end of the age. What is seen will be believed and will appear as truth, but what is not seen will be the truth. Key of David, treasure map. Yet the teachers of righteousness who know what truth is will have in their possession the key of David and the map, as well as the parable, time clock in reference to the hours of revealed truth during the hours of the working day in the field of the Lord, which is a metaphor for the specific time frames of Earth's history in which the truth has been revealed. The true vineyard, which is not in Jerusalem or Mount Gerizim, or fallen Laodicea, but in the spirit and truth of Scripture. The compass marks out the heavenly direction, as well as those things which the ancient prophets desired to look into, Matthew 13:17, and understand, since it meant to them the bestowal of the treasure. The digging with the shovel equals the zeal of those who desire to look deeply into the underlying facts of Scripture, which unveil the compass and the direction one needs to arrive at truth, pure and unadulterated. And also, one thing that wasn't mentioned was the following question: what then takes place when we reach the end of the map of the 10 kings? We then have, as Daniel 12 stated, the 3.5 years equals 1260 days, and the plus 30 equals 1290 days, and blessed is the expectant one that reaches the 1335. And from the time that the daily shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. And from the time that Hatamid, the daily, shall be taken away, and the Shekutz Shomam, abomination causing desolation, set up, there shall be 1,290 Yamim. When the abomination of desolation is set up, equals Daniel 12:11, it is prefaced by the 10 kings, and the same 10 as that 1 hour with the beast of Revelation 17:12. In fact, the first beast of Revelation 13 is with the 10 kings. Why? For the first beast of Revelation 13 has 10 horns, who are by the time of the abomination of desolation of Matthew 24:15 are crowned. That occurs when? After that 1 hour of Revelation 17:12. Then the beast of Revelation 13 is set up. Then commences the abomination, which is in 3 parts: A, 1260, and then there is B, the plus 30 days unto the end of the 1290 days, and C, blessed those who wait for the 1335, and all has to what he who made stated in Matthew 24:15, and he quoted the prophet Daniel, see Daniel 12:11. Summary: without the book of Daniel and Revelation, there is no map. Without solving the Alpha Omega of deadly heresies, there is no key to unlock the map. Laodicea and Revelation 3 were never given the key of David. Laodicea had the map, but floundered and rejected the key of David. Why? Laodicea was warned it would be received, and Sister White trembled. Laodicea is now in a deplorable condition, in dire need of eye salve, yet cannot see herself as being utterly deceived by the Alpha and Omega of deadly heresies, fundamentals 2 and 4. The consequence? Laodicea had no key of David. And at midnight what happened? The door was shut, and with no key, what then? Let that sink in. Better pay close attention on the subject of Alpha and Omega, the key of David, and eternal righteousness by faith. These essential details must continue to be discussed.